What's going on, guys? Oh my god, I'm actually working on the Tom Kench deck that I promised. And I said, hey, I'm just testing some stuff out. And my friend hits me up and he's like, have you seen the new Runeterra cards? Have you seen them? And I'm like, new cards? I heard that there was a patch dropping out. I didn't know it was supposed to be new cards. And I'm like, oh boy, here we freaking go, bro. So I'm gonna stop. We were supposed to have a play session. So if you guys like me so much, like, comment, subscribe. It would really mean a lot. It helps me, especially because I'm not so far in the algorithm anymore, especially I think my channel does better when there's new stuff coming out in comparison to when there's just a bunch of old stuff and we're just kind of playing whatever. So like what we're doing now. So really helps me out, helps me put me in the foreground for when stuff comes out and things like that, and it helps me possibly, maybe get early access to stuff and things like that, but who knows. So let's go over what we got here. Patch 4.2, we have Ceaseless Sentry, which is a new card. It's going to be a common. Last Breath, draw a card. So it's basically the Freljord card, just that they reprinted it for for Shadow Isles. It's actually the same guy too. I don't feel like reading that at the moment. Yeah, it is good for them because it's like, it gives them early draws. What's it called? Shadow Isles actually has a decent amount of draws, so I'm kind of it's kind of like, that's a super synergistic card. I think Kindred is like, oh, thank you so much. But now with Soul Cleave, this is a plus. This is a 2 mana, and then the next turn you could do a draw fucking, it dies, you draw 1, then the other 2 are gonna die, so you draw 3. Am I seeing Twisted Fate Shadow Isles right now? That seems like it could be a thing, and a lot of the other draw outside of what, like Glimpse Beyond, is like the other one, the 4/1, the monster, that's instantaneous. So I'm curious if there could be a nice fun draw deck that could be had with this, but we shall proceed. Generous Gem Crafter, when you play a spell, grant a random ally in hand plus... Oh, what? First of all, that puts Chimes out of business. It doesn't, I'm just kidding. But that's so strong, dude. It is basically, I think, just as strong as, that has to be just as strong as, whatchamacallit, the Rock Bear, because it's just like something, and you can run decks. I already, what is it? One of the most premier decks is Victor and Zoe, right? And you play both of them, and then you have the P and Z cards that generate a card every turn, right? So you just have this thing, and this could just boost up something in the hand like crazy. And Targon actually has a decent amount of elusives, and I'm assuming that's going to be played in this too. But it actually does make it flexible. I'm thinking P and Z, I'm thinking Bilgewater, I'm thinking this, Ionia. They have a bunch of elusives as well, and this card is just super strong. Yeah, what does it say? What did it say? Whatever she helps bring Kale or Bard. Yeah, I guess it does help Bard, but there's gonna be a way to abuse this, and I think this card is gonna be one of the cards you do. I mean, so far this is banger on banger, right? I think both of these cards are phenomenal. Next up is going to be the Blocking Badge Bear. I can block units with elusive. So they finally are printing a card that is basically Shapestone. It's not Shapestone, Sharp Sight, but in a unit. Awesome. Is Blocking Badge Bear is also quite good while attacking. Yeah, it's a 3. I mean, its stats regardless is fucking amazing. A 3 cost 4/4 that block, like, that's just good. I actually would have made it more. It would have made more sense if it was like a 2/4 or a 3/4 or something like that. But to make it a 4/4, you just throw this into Mossy attacks anyway, regardless of anything. And I'm pretty sure it will get nerfed later on because of that. That's just really too good. Next up, Banana Blaster. Bilgewater, play. Deal damage equal to my power to a unit. Play, though. This obviously synergizes with the hand buffing. Hand buffing Bandle City. Also, as you guys know, you already know. You know what I see a skill, I'm thinking Jin. So Jin Bandle City, is that going to be a thing? I doubt it. I don't think that they have too many skills, but they do have a bunch of whatchamacallit though. They do like spells, like slow spells, fast speed spells. So maybe, but I don't know, maybe they have more burst. I'd have to actually look into that. But I'm always looking at stuff like that. But this is cool. You boost this guy up and up, and this could be a legitimate death ping, But at the most, I think it would probably be a 4 cost 4/4. I think it'll get like 2 buffs or something like that. Well, maybe you go Bandle City Freljord with Revna. You play a 4 cost that actually has like an actual ping. That might be more better. That might be way better, in my personal opinion. I think that's where you want to go. And like I said, Targon and Bard, no, fuck that. I'm thinking Freljord with Chimes Revna, Yeah, Chimes Revda, and then on top of that, you have this in the deck. So if you drop it, and still it's a 4-cost 2/2 that still will deal 2, right? It's just that it's a play effect, so it can be Frostbitten or, you know, Troll Chanted into something, and then it does nothing. But this is a strong card. I like it a lot. Next up, we have the Priestess of Desert Light. Shurima loves the... I'm reading this like I keep thinking that this is that, but it's not. Round start, deal 4 damage to me. So basically it's going to kill itself if it doesn't have a check. Draw a champion, or if your deck started with 6+ different champions, summon it instead. If your deck started with 6 champions... Does that mean like at the start of the round? I would need this to be... actually thing. So this is what obviously it's Shurima, and they're trying to say like if you play 6 champions, and I think hold on, there are 6 ascended now, right? I'm actually not too sure. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, no, 4. There's only 4. Okay, so close to it, but it says 6 different champions. So you run boom, 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 boom. You run these 4. You run Akshan because he's just good, and Zillion's actually really good, especially in the Emperor's deck because you can replay certain cards. You would just run this right here, and you run that card, and they get summoned to the field instead of doing that. Also, I'm sorry to do this. I'm so sorry to do this. Also, this card could be used in other decks, right? It just says deal 4 to me, draw a champion. It doesn't say that it has to be Shurima whatsoever, but you can go Shurima and then something else, another deck that can be used, like maybe even, let's say Bandle, for example. But this one is, like you said, I think it even says it here, Shurima loves the champion. Although you will face a large deck building cost to prove your devotion, the payoff for a free Aurelia soul might just be worth it. Yeah, so you do this with like Targon, and you just throw a bunch of in there. And the crazy part about this is it's still round start. You can not heal it, but give it more. You could play it and then give it some type of defense so it actually stays there, or it could be in a deck like Freljord, and then maybe you ramp into this bad boy, get it out early, and then you have some type of protection for it, and then all of a sudden you start playing a bunch of Freljord cards. Again, I think that this would be more of a Freljord thing because of ramp, and with the way ramp is going on now, might be kind of crazy. Is there another way to cheese her out though? I don't know, but I think that this card is nuts. I think this is not. It's, of course, I like certain stuff, but then again, there's also stuff that I think is just strong. I'll go back afterwards. Next up, PNZ formula: draw 2 cards, refill your what? Where's the downside? So PNZ getting some draw, which is great for you know, like another, like I guess TF deck, but still refill your spell mana. Damn, that's just nice. 1 more mana than a lot of the draw 2s, right? Because a lot of the draw 2s are about 5 mana. The cheapest I think is 4, which is the one from Bilgewater you toss 2 at the same time. So, and I know, yes, Glimpse Beyond is the one, but it's 2 mana, but you have to do something else. Same thing with the one BNC one where you have to discard 2 cards now. But it's still crazy. Yeah, you draw. It's a basically draw 3, draw 2 for 3, depending on where your refill spell mana is. So. And it also, oh yeah, of course, it could be duplicated by Jace, right? It could be, I'm trying to think of another thing. It helps Lux, right? In the Lux deck, it's 6 mana, so it can level her up. You get 3 spell mana back. And it's the other one that I'm trying to think of. Doesn't it also, it could be another card that the captain can get, right? Not the captain, the fan club. So this is a buff to fan club as well, which is absolutely dangerous if you really think about it. This could be played for 2 mana. So yeah, I think that this card is absolutely busted. You'll definitely see a lot with this card. Also, this is for Heimer, right? Heimer can utilize this because it's 6 mana. You play it, but you basically get 3 of it back, and yeah, no, this card's busted. So far, everything's busted. This would be the weakest so far. I think this card's great. These 2 are the weakest so far. This one's just overall good, overall good, overall good. What else have we got going on? Winter's Touch. Get another ramp card. Get an empty mana gem, enlighten. I cost 1. Because once you're enlightened, it doesn't do anything. Draw 1. I think there's a lot of the enlightened. And I actually said this for out of the way. They should be the same thing. So 4 mana. I think this is amongst one of the cheaper ramps, right? And you don't get to draw 1 unless you are the, unless it is part of it regardless, right? Oh, let me read this. We've always needed to walk a fine line with Freljord's mana ramping effects because they can incredibly potent when drawn early and fairly weak when drawn late. To solve this, Winter's West can pull a cool trick by filtering itself away when you don't need it, giving it a lot more consistency. It just makes me think of like Flow. And you guys know one of my favorite decks, Master Yi Udyr. So I would definitely run this in Master Yi Udyr. It's easy flow charge, stuff like that, and then you draw one off of it. So yeah, it's a draw 1 mana, draw 1 later in the game. Pretty good. Next up, Noxus. That's a big ass spider. Oh, it looks kind of fluffy though. I'm sorry. 6 mana, 6 cost fluffy spider. Skulking String Puller. Attack. Grow other attacking allies' power to mine this round. Another buffing. So we got some Noxus buffing. And it grows other things. So I'm assuming that's plus. That's actually very interesting. And it's a spider deck. So of course you could have it gain stuff from being a spider. But it's a 6 cost. I think that this is a little bit for the spider deck, but it could be better somewhere else because it doesn't need to be in a spider deck. It could be in a Noxus. Noxus is already aggro, right? It could be like a, oh my god, actually I'm just thinking about Gwen. This is an amazing Gwen card, right? Inside of a hollow deck, you put this guy on the left, everyone else gets that match. And I gotta test this with Gwen because technically Gwen would get the boost from hollowed, and then I wonder what happens first. I'm assuming he's on the left. So he should boost her up, and then the hollow proc she got. So she should possibly get the hollowed attack boost twice. That's what I'm assuming. Not twice. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. But like, that's actually nuts. And any little mini minion attacking alongside it. This card's amazing for aggro. Super amazing for aggro. You can just buff that card. You can give it weapons and stuff like that, and it will spread across the land. I think that, oh no, actually this card's great, but I don't think in a spider deck though. I think this is not a spider deck card. It just happens to be a spider. Next up is going to be Ionia! Serene, Sky Singer. When I'm, lifesteal, 7 mana lifesteal. Alright, so when I'm summoned, reduce the cost of spells in your deck by half, round it up. What are y'all doing? What the fuck is that? That's cool. Now, I'll do a separate video. You guys know I like to do in-depth videos of the cards that are coming out. That's interesting, but it also seems dumb because like 7 mana, right? I'm thinking about, of course, you're thinking about summoning it 16,000 times, right? Like most of us, black flaming it or something like that. But is it really worth it? I think the first hit of it, if you're running big mana cards, right? Spells that cost big mana, because you have to think of Ionia, and you have to think of other things that you're gonna pair with it, right? Again, with all if I'm thinking about all the Freljord stuff, getting this out really quickly by ramping it up and then doing Freljord, all of a sudden now you have a 6 cost Feel the Rush, right? That's what we're thinking about. You play him again well, it looks like I heard, but you play it again, right? And then you say now it's a 3 mana Feel the Rush in the deck, and it just keeps multiplying. But you still need to get the cards out the deck though, and that's where I think that it is in Ionia, and Ionia does have ways to draw the spells, right? This could also synergize with the Mirai Great Mother, so there's a lot of fun you can have with the thing, but I don't know how great it is, you know, but it is strong as shit. It's pretty fun. So next up we're gonna have Mischief's Mirai. So we have another Mirai. Mischief Mirai, when you play a spell, summon a oh, that's smelling OTK to me. There's some crazy stuff because you could play other spells, like even stuff that generate kegs, and then do a crazy spell. Actually, since it's when you play it, and as you guys know, play happens immediately, you can trigger God, what is it called? The 2 mana. Oh my god, I have to. I'm a noob right now. Why can't I think of the card? It's like the most infamous Bilgewater card ever for 2 mana. Make It Rain. There it is. I had to look it up. I'm terrible. Yes, you could play Make It Rain, and it will automatically be dealing 2 because it's when it's played, right? So you could play any like thing. Yeah, it is like a Funsmith. It's basically a Funsmith that just keeps generating, but you could then play a bunch of other stuff and then hit it with the stuff. Yeah, warning shots will automatically be triggering for 2. What I'm thinking about is the other card, the loaded shell thing. That's gonna be nuts. This thing is kind of crazy. This is kind of crazy, interesting, but I do see some OTKs with that. There might be some crazy OTKs that might come from this card. And okay, those are the last of the new cards. So boom, all new cards out of the way. Like I said, like you guys already know, like I have to do like in-depth like breakdowns of each card if it warrants it. Like there's no need to break an in-depth of the Ceaseless Sentry, right? But it is something that you could do with like not even the generous one. You guys let me know which ones you want a deep breakdown of. I'll tell you right now though, I will be doing one for the Priestess of the Desert Light. I think I want to maybe look into Formula. I don't think I need to. Winter's Touch maybe. Sulking String I will. I want to do an in-depth video, and of course Siren Singer, and of course Mariah. Like those ones I think need like a separate video to kind of deep dive into how useful they could actually be by actually going into the game and doing comparisons to stuff. Next up is going to be Riven getting a buff. I see the Blade in the hand. You have created Blade of the Exile in general. That's a nice little buff. It's just a slight buff. Most of the time Riven levels up anyway, so it's just like a thing. If you happen to not draw her and you want to make the Blade of the Exile and use it some other time, she'll just come in leveled instead of like, oh no, I need to see the Blade, I have to make sure that it's the right one. So decent buff for Riven players, I think. Silverwing Vanguard, they nerfed it from what I actually do with it, which is kind of nuts. If you guys remember effect on summon, summon an exact copy of me. Well, actually, when I played the Husk, it was the Evelyn Lucian deck, right? Apparently people are using this a lot. A weird example where the text can technically break the rules of the game, so we're making a slight downgrade in order to fix and a number of errant bugs that came with it. I don't know if this still changes the Husk thing, because when you play this on a Husk, it gains all the stuff and then it should summon an exact copy, or if it's once it's in the air, it just automatically makes a copy, like, which would be weird. So it's basically what it wants you to do is to buff it in the hand, give it keywords in the hand, and then play it, and then it does that. So I'm not too sure how that works. And they just changed my boy Steam. That's kind of nuts. That's kind of nuts, dude. So they changed him to a 4 cost, which is nuts already, right? He's a 5/5, goes down to a 3/3, still has Scout, which is relevant. That is extremely relevant. Change when I'm summon a Husk to when I'm summon a Husk. When you summon a 1-cost follower, grant the strongest enemy. This is an overtune. This makes Evelyn decks crazy, but it also helps them curve like really like by a lot, right? Because it's Grant. First of all, it's Grant the strongest enemy. They might not do Grant. They might change it to further round. Maybe because you'll start granting and you'll be able to start trading with a bunch of stuff. It pretty much makes Steam like a main deck, right? It's just it makes the Evelyn archetype strong. This is in Bilgewater, so I don't think it makes sense there. But if you do run Bilgewater Shurima with Renekton, there could be some implications there. Or other 1-mana decks, which is like PNZ, where you could actually do something with maybe Professor Von Yip. That could be something crazy with this card. But then they're both eating up that 4-mana slot. So I don't know, but I do think in Evelyn decks, you are definitely running this like by a lot. Also, it's kind of crazy, and I just saw non-SI supporting have a chance. That just made me immediately think of you play Steam not because of a Husk generation, but just because of the Encroaching Mist. The Encroaching Mist, every time you summon Encroaching Mist, you're getting vulnerable to something, and that's going to allow you to trade. That could be insane. Domination 2-1 to a 2-2. That's actually nice because it died a little bit. You want engines to stay on the field, so they're really buffing Evelyn's package here. This also does make the Azir Aurelia a little bit stronger, so it's a little bit harder to take out the domination because that helps in that deck. It also helps out in the crazy of just Sand Soldier decks when it comes to Zolani, so maybe that's why they buffed it. They want to have domination, have more fun. So next up is going to be the Bandle City Painter. Bandle City. Now it's Bandle City Piltover and Zon. So they made it a dual reading, which is kind of crazy. One of the more popular decks right now is literally the Tristana one, right? Tristana Shadow Owls, and they're buffing all the ramps, so they're giving her another follower that's going to help her out. And it still has play, discard 1 to create a random... create a multi-region follower in hand and reduce its cost by 1. That's so this is like, please Tristana be meta. That's all that is. Mistfall. Now I did try to make a deck with this. You guys never saw it because it was kind of ass. It's just weird. It's just weird. So change each round. First time a person is unequipped and you equip them, you gain 1 spell mana back, and it grants, I think, the equipment. It was weird. Yeah, it just wasn't that strong. The only thing that I liked about it is that when it's summoned, you draw an equipment, and I liked that aspect of it, but everything else was kind of trash. So it still has when I'm summoned, draw an equipment, but now it says first time each round an unequipped ally is equipped, refill 2 spell mana. So they took out the whole sorry, they took out the whole giving it +1, and now you get 2 spell mana, which is good for, like, I don't know, darkened stuff, like, because you basically get to play a thing for free. And it is a good landmark. It's just like, I think it needs a little bit more, but maybe Aatrox Ionia, maybe. Probably not. Anything, Wraith of Echoes goes down to 5 cost, which is great, and it allows you to play a little bit earlier to really get that ramp thing going. Volta Helia going down to 4 cost. Look at that. My friend was just playing with Volta Helia. He's like, oh, this card's really good. And it is. It's just that it took too long to become relevant. And I think making it 4 is absolutely fantastic. And you might see some play. Cards nerf. Revelers from burst goes to focus. That's great. It was doing too much for burst speed. A lot of attack like a Banshee, and then burst, get lethal, or get these weird trades. So you have to do it preemptively, which doesn't change like the Taric aspect of it or anything like that, but it at least makes it less reactive. Same thing that they did with the Tentacle. They changed it to focus speed. Atrocity is now slow speed. That's interesting. They didn't nerf the mana cost of it, but now it's less, let me attack and then use Atrocity depending on what you do. You have to pretty much do it preemptively, so if you're worried if that unit's going to die, you have to then just let it die first or be reactive to it. I love this change, actually. That's a pretty cool change. Next up, Wandering turns into a 2-1. I think that's cool. Ravun turned into a 5-5, making it a little bit easier because he sticks too much onto the field. That's a lot of information about this stuff. About the Runeterra Open. I've been trying to play into them, but they don't really match with my schedule all too much. And then they're doing some more weird stuff. Again, starting Nexus 30 HP. That's actually very interesting. Standard, everything standard, but your Nexus just starts at 30 HP. You may only put 1 copy. Okay, that's the Singleton stuff. Best of ones. Path of Champions. Thresh and Nami. You guys want to see some Path of Champions stuff on the channel? I feel like doing like 1 video a month or something like that wouldn't be too bad. Because like Path of Champions, when you get later onto it, it's actually pretty crazy, like all the little weird shit that's happening. And then we have all these fun little changes. Anyway, that's gonna be it for me. What did you guys enjoy, hate? Did you think that they make some stuff too broken, too crazy, or not enough? Because a lot of times, 1 card can just bring a format out of nowhere, right? So 1 change can bring a format back. Like, I can't wait to play Evelynn and play Steam and Evelynn Kaiser, right? Like, just... like you have like a really cool thing that now has Scout, and now that he's 2 mana cheaper and literally curves into Kaiser. Look, this literally curves into Kaiser like now. Like, it's kind of nuts. So I'm definitely looking forward to playing so many different decks, and that's kind of, like I said, where my channel strives. It strives when new stuff comes out and new ideas and concepts. I don't do too well playing like the same rigmarole like other people do, so I have to always come up with something crazy. So hope you guys enjoy. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.